I never expected to find something that would make me question everything about my wife. It started as an ordinary night. Lily had gone to bed early, and I was in the garage, sorting through some old boxes. We'd been talking about remodeling the office, and I figured it was a good time to clear out junk we never used anymore. That's when I found the old laptop. It was Lily's from years ago, before we got married. I almost didn't think twice about it, but curiosity got the better of me. We had newer devices now, and I wondered if there were any old pictures or files on it that we might want to save before tossing it out. I powered it on. It was slow, outdated, but it worked. As I clicked around, I found the usual, old work files, a few travel photos, and some forgotten music playlists. Nothing out of the ordinary. Until I noticed a folder. Dubai 2017. At first, I assumed it was from a vacation. Lily had mentioned going to Dubai once with some friends before we met. I clicked on it, expecting to see tourist pictures, maybe some photos of the Burj Khalifa, desert safaris, fancy hotel rooms. What I found instead made my blood run cold. There were hundreds of files, videos, messages, receipts. Some of them had been deleted, but not completely. They were still sitting in the laptop's trash folder. I hesitated. Something about it felt off. My heart pounded in my chest as I clicked on the first video. It was shaky footage taken in a dimly lit penthouse. I recognized Lily instantly, even though her hair was styled differently. She was dressed up, heavily made up, laughing with a group of other women. They looked excited, eager, even. Behind them, men in expensive suits lounged on couches, smoking cigars and drinking from crystal glasses. That's when the camera panned to the table. Stacks of cash. Piles of neatly arranged bills, along with champagne, designer watches, and collars. My stomach tightened. This wasn't just a vacation. I clicked on another video. This one was worse. Lily, my wife, was kneeling on the floor, blindfolded, as a man in a white robe snapped his fingers. Someone stepped forward, carrying a silver tray filled with things I couldn't bring myself to process. The voices in the background were laughing, betting, bargaining. And Lily? She was right there, playing along. I slammed the laptop shut, my hands shaking. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at the table in front of me, trying to make sense of what I had just seen. Was this before we were married? Did she need the money back then? Or was this something darker, something she never planned to tell me? I forced myself to open the laptop again. This time, I checked the messages. Dozens of conversations. Most of them were with a woman named Alina. Alina, girl, last night was insane. My stomach still hurts from laughing, and from, you know. Lily, LOL, tell me about it. At least it was worth it. That guy paid me double for what we did on the yacht. Easy money. Alina, ugh, yeah. The things we do for cash, but whatever. Dubai money hits different. Are you in for tomorrow's yacht thing? More high rollers coming. Lily, of course. You think I'd miss out? Winking face. I closed my eyes, swallowing the nausea rising in my throat. This was real. And worst of all, it wasn't just one night. It was a pattern. A lifestyle. A secret she had buried deep, until now. And now, I had to decide what to do with the truth. The secret life she hid from me. I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the screen. My hands were cold. My chest felt tight. I had read the messages over and over, trying to convince myself I was misunderstanding something. Maybe there was some explanation, maybe it was a joke, maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But the videos didn't lie. Neither did the receipts. I opened a new folder. It contained bank transfers, large sums of money deposited into an account with Lily's maiden name. The senders? Private individuals. Foreign names. Some of the payments were marked with notes. Small blue diamond, for an unforgettable weekend. Small blue diamond, appreciate the special attention on the yacht. Small blue diamond, bonus for keeping things fun. My stomach churned. I clicked another file. This time, it was a flight itinerary, first class, round trip to Dubai. Paid for by someone else. And the dates? A week after she told me she was on a girls' trip to California. I shut the laptop and pushed it away like it was poisoned. This wasn't just some wild phase before she met me. This wasn't some desperate mistake she made years ago and regretted. This was a life she had chosen. And she had lied to my face every single day of our marriage. Memories that look different now. I started thinking back, remembering little things I had ignored before. Lily had always been particular about money. She never let me pay off her student loans, even though I could have. She always wanted to keep some of her finances separate, claiming she liked her independence. I never questioned it. She had friends I never met, people who never showed up to our wedding, who never came over for dinner. She used to get random gifts in the mail, expensive perfume, designer bags. I asked about them once, and she just laughed. Work perks, she said. A client sent it as a thank you. I didn't question that either. Now, I knew the truth. They weren't clients. They were paying for something else. The first sign she knows I know. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. By the time Lily woke up, I was still sitting at the kitchen table, the laptop open in front of me. I didn't even realize I had been clenching my fists until she walked in and smiled at me. "Morning, babe," she said, tying her robe. "You're up early." I just stared at her. For the first time in our entire marriage, I saw her differently. I wasn't looking at my wife anymore. I was looking at a stranger. She poured herself a coffee, humming softly. It was too normal, like she wasn't the woman I had just seen in those videos, laughing with men who treated her like property. She finally noticed I wasn't responding. "You okay?" I hesitated. My heart pounded in my chest. Tell her now. Confront her. But something stopped me. I needed to know more before I let her know what I had found. So I forced a smile. "Yeah," I said, my voice even. "Just couldn't sleep." She nodded, not thinking twice about it. "Want me to make you something to eat?" I shook my head. "No. I've got some work to do." She kissed my cheek and walked away. And as soon as she was gone, I exhaled, gripping the edge of the table. I needed a plan. Because whatever happened next, I wasn't going to let her keep lying to me. Lily went about her morning like nothing was wrong. She made coffee, checked her phone, kissed me on the cheek, and left for work. Meanwhile, I sat there, staring at the laptop, my mind spinning. I had two choices, confront her now or dig deeper. I chose the second option. Because what I found last night already made me sick, but something told me, there was worse. So I started with the messages again. The yacht parties. Buried deep in the chat logs with Alina, I found another conversation. Small blue diamond Alina, you ever think about the yacht party? That one was, next level. Small blue diamond Lily, ugh, don't remind me. I still can't believe I did that. Small blue diamond Alina, girl, come on. $50,000 for one night. And all we had to do was play along. I'd do it again. Small blue diamond Lily, yeah, but the things they made us do. I felt like an animal. Small blue diamond Alina, yeah, well, at least we were the ones getting paid. Those other girls. They didn't have a choice. I froze. They didn't have a choice. My stomach twisted. What was she talking about? I scrolled up. They had been flown out to Dubai on a private jet, taken straight to a massive yacht owned by a billionaire. On board? Wealthy men, models, and money, insane amounts of money. And the women? They were auctioned off. Not in a literal way, but these men placed bets on them, who could last the longest, who could make them submit, who could break them. My hands started shaking as I read more. Lily had been one of them. She had let herself be bought. And the worst part? Some of those other girls, they weren't there by choice. The names that shouldn't exist. I wasn't just disgusted anymore. I was angry. I wanted to know who these men were. So I searched Lily's laptop, looking for any names, messages, anything. And I found it. A hidden document, buried under an innocent-sounding folder called Receipts. I opened it. Inside was a list of names. Wealthy men. CEOs. Foreign princes. Politicians. And next to some of their names, dollar amounts. Like, transactions. Like these women were products. One of the names stood out immediately. Because I'd seen it before. On the news. A well-known billionaire who had been rumored to be involved in some really shady stuff, but nothing was ever proven. And here was my wife, involved with them. What the hell had she gotten herself into? The call that changed everything. I needed answers. So I made a call. Not to Lily. Not to Alina. But to someone else on that list. A name I didn't recognize, but I had a gut feeling they'd know more than they should. The phone rang. And after a few rings, a woman answered. Her voice was shaky, scared. Hello. I took a breath. You don't know me. But I need to know what happened at those Dubai parties. Silence. Then. Who is this? I'm Lily's husband. Another pause. Then the woman whispered something that made my blood run cold. You need to leave her. Now. What? My heart pounded. What do you mean? She told you, right? The woman said. She told you what they did to us. What they made us do. What we saw. You cannot stay with her. These men, they don't forget. They don't let people just walk away. I gripped the phone tighter. Did Lily ever? The woman cut me off. She's not innocent. I felt my entire body go numb. What do you mean? You think she just got caught up in it? The woman whispered. No. She knew exactly what she was doing. The line went dead. And I sat there, staring at my phone, realizing that whatever I thought I knew about my wife, I was wrong. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. She's not innocent. The woman's words echoed in my head like a drumbeat. I had been holding on to one last hope, the idea that maybe Lily had just been young, naive, desperate. That she got caught up in something bigger than herself, something she regretted. But that phone call shattered that illusion. I wasn't married to a woman who had made a mistake. I was married to a woman who had chosen this. And now, I had to find out how deep it really went. Digging up the final pieces. I went back inside, my heart hammering in my chest. If Lily had truly been part of it, not just as a participant, but as someone involved in organizing or benefiting from it, there had to be more proof. And I was going to find it. I opened her laptop again. This time, I dug through old emails, hidden files, encrypted messages. Some of them were deleted, but not deleted enough. I found more names. More receipts. More messages that made my stomach turn. One of them was between Lily and a man named Kareem. I didn't recognize the name, but the messages made my skin crawl. Kareem, the Americans were easy to manage. The new batch will be more exciting. Tell your girls to behave this time. Lily, they always behave when the price is right. Who's on the guest list? Karim, the Sheik, the Russian, a few new ones. They want something different this time. More control. Lily, understood. Same price as last time. Karim, double. Double. I stared at the screen, bile rising in my throat. Lily wasn't just part of the parties, she was helping organize them. She was handing women over to these men. And she was making a fortune doing it. The women she left behind. I kept reading. More messages. More evidence. And then I found the ones that made me stop breathing. Alina, Lily, are you sure about this one? She's scared. She doesn't know what she signed up for. Lily, she'll get over it. They always do. Just make sure she gets on the plane. Alina, I don't know. This doesn't feel right. Lily, it's not your job to feel. Just make it happen. I slammed the laptop shut, my entire body shaking. She wasn't just attending. She was recruiting. She was sending women to be used. Some of them didn't even know what they were walking into. And my wife, had been the one pushing them into it. The proof that broke me. I needed one final confirmation. Something undeniable. I searched her bank records. There it was. Payments. Massive deposits, all from offshore accounts, disguised as consulting fees. One in particular stood out, $250,000, deposited right after one of the yacht parties. I scrolled down. And that's when I saw the last message she received from Karim before she stopped using this email. Karim, good work. The Sheik was pleased. He says you have a talent for breaking them in. I couldn't breathe. I had thought Lily was just a woman with a dark past. But she wasn't just there. She was running it. She was making sure these women had no way out. Watching the woman I thought I knew. I heard the garage door open. Lily was home. I quickly shut the laptop and shoved it back in the drawer. My pulse was pounding in my ears as I sat at the kitchen table, trying to act normal. She walked in, smiling like she wasn't a monster. Hey, babe, she said, setting her bag down. You okay? You look tired. I forced a smile. Lied to her, just like she had lied to me. Yeah, I said. Long day. She kissed my cheek, her perfume sweet and familiar. And as she walked upstairs, I stared at her, realizing that I was looking at a stranger. My wife was a predator. And now I had to decide what I was going to do about it. I should have confronted her that night. I should have thrown the laptop in her face, demanded the truth, and walked away from the monster I had unknowingly married. But I didn't. Because if Lily had really left this life behind, if she had buried this part of herself and never looked back, then I might have been able to live with it. But if she was still involved, if she was still sending women to these men, still making money off their suffering, then I needed proof. And when I had it, I would destroy her. Tracking the woman I married. For the next week, I did something I never thought I'd do. I spied on my wife. Every time she left the house, I made a note of where she went, who she saw, how long she was gone. I checked her phone when she was in the shower, watched her laptop when she wasn't looking. And at first, nothing. She went to work. She went to brunch with her friends. She came home and made dinner like a normal wife. For a moment, I thought maybe, just maybe, it was all in the past. But then, on Thursday night, she left for a work meeting downtown. And I followed her. The meeting that wasn't a meeting. She pulled up to a private lounge in an expensive part of the city. I parked across the street, watching from my car as she stepped out in a sleek black dress, the kind she used to wear in those Dubai videos. A man in a suit met her at the entrance. Not a coworker. Not a friend. Someone else. Someone who knew exactly who she used to be. I waited, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers hurt. She was inside for 2 hours. When she finally walked out, the man handed her a small envelope. She tucked it into her purse, smiled at him, and drove away. I didn't go home. I waited for him to leave. Then I followed him. The money trail. His name was David Romani. I found out that night when he pulled into his office building, a luxury consulting firm that didn't seem to have any real clients. A front. I had seen this before: offshore accounts, hidden transactions, money that didn't have a paper trail. And now, my wife was back in business with them. The final piece of the puzzle. I needed to know what was in that envelope. That night, while Lily was in the shower, I went through her purse. My hands were shaking as I pulled it out. Inside, a stack of crisp $100 bills. And a note. For the new shipment. 2 confirmed. Need a third. I almost dropped it. Shipment. She wasn't just back in the game. She was still sending women to these parties. And now I knew exactly what I had to do. I stood in the kitchen, gripping a coffee mug so hard I thought it might crack. Lily walked in like she hadn't just met with a trafficker the night before. Like she hadn't just received an envelope of cash for selling women. Like she wasn't a monster in designer heels. She smiled at me. "Morning, babe. You sleep okay?" I forced myself to return the smile. Lie. Play along. Yeah. You. She poured herself coffee. That meeting last night ran so late. I just crashed when I got home. I felt my stomach turn. She had no idea that I followed her. No idea that I had found the envelope. No idea that I now knew, without a doubt, that she was still sending women into that nightmare. And no idea that I was about to ruin her life. Step 1, find out everything. I couldn't just accuse her. Not yet. If I was going to take her down, I needed proof. Not just videos from years ago, not just texts. I needed hard evidence that would send her to prison. So I did what she never expected. I acted like the perfect husband. I cooked dinner, planned dates, kissed her goodnight. I told her I loved her. And when she left the house, I watched her every move. I cloned her phone. I hacked into her email. I tracked her bank accounts. And that's when I found the new names. The 3 women she was setting up for a trip. One of them was named Ava. And Ava had no idea what was coming. Step 2, save the women she's selling. I found Ava's Instagram. She was 23, fresh out of college, blonde, and beautiful, exactly the type that these men in Dubai wanted. Her latest post. Excited for my first international modeling job. Flying out next week. I felt sick. She thought she was getting a job. She had no idea she was about to be owned by men who didn't see her as a person, just a purchase. I sent her a message. Me, Ava, you don't know me, but I need you to listen. Do not go on that trip. The people hiring you are not who they say they are. I waited. 2 hours later, she replied. Ava, who are you? Me, someone trying to help you. Do you know a woman named Lily Carter? Ava, yeah, she's the recruiter. She's been great, super professional. Why? I clenched my jaw. Lily was still calling herself a recruiter. Me, she's lying to you. She doesn't work for an agency. She's selling you to men in Dubai. If you get on that plane, you won't come back the same. If you come back at all. She left me on read. I thought I lost her. But then, an hour later. Ava, I think I believe you. She told me the flight details but wouldn't tell me anything about my contract. What do I do? I exhaled, my heart pounding. Me, cancel the flight. Block her number. And whatever you do, don't tell her you know. Ava, okay. Thank you. I'm scared. I stared at the screen. Me too. Step 3, trap the snake. Now I knew Lily wasn't just involved. She was still active. Still sending women like Ava into the same nightmare she had once lived in. And I wasn't just going to stop her. I was going to bury her. The night everything changed. That night, I made a mistake. I underestimated her. I had been tracking her every move so well, I didn't think she was doing the same to me. At 1 a.m., I was in my home office, going through Lily's emails. I was looking at flight details for her latest models, trying to figure out how many women she had sent overseas. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number, you're making a mistake. I froze. Another text. Unknown number, you don't know who you're messing with. And then a photo came through. A picture of me, sitting in my office, taken through the window. My chest went cold. Someone was watching me. I shot up, ran to the window. Nothing. Just the dark street outside. I turned off the lights, my heart racing. Lily knew. She must have sensed something. Maybe Ava told her. Maybe she caught me going through her stuff. Or maybe, just maybe, her powerful friends were protecting her. I stared down at my phone, my pulse pounding. I wasn't just exposing my wife. I had just declared war on the people funding her. And I had no idea how dangerous they really were. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark, staring at my phone, replaying the message over and over. You're making a mistake. You don't know who you're messing with. And then the photo of me, taken through my own window. Whoever sent it wasn't just watching. They were close. And that meant I was running out of time. The choice, police or revenge. I had two options. 1, go to the cops. Turn in the laptop, the emails, the messages. Expose Lily and the men she worked for. 2, handle it myself. Gather more proof. Follow the money. Take them down my way. I wanted to do the second. I wanted revenge. But the photo changed everything. This wasn't just Lily's secret anymore. Now, I was a target too. The final move. The next morning, I made my decision. I copied everything, the videos, the emails, the transactions, and sent them to a trusted lawyer. Then, I called a detective I knew from an old case. I have something big, I told him. And I need protection. That night, when Lily came home, she kissed me like nothing was wrong. Like she didn't know her world was about to collapse. And as I looked at her, smiling like she was still the perfect wife, I smiled back. Because in 24 hours, she wouldn't be smiling anymore. I woke up before dawn, my heart pounding. Today was the day. By nightfall, Lily's life would be over, at least, the life she had built on lies, money, and suffering. I had spent the past week collecting everything, emails, bank transactions, messages with traffickers, proof of money laundering. I even had the flight records of the women she was about to send overseas. And now, the authorities had them too. I had turned everything over to a detective I trusted, an old friend who knew exactly how dangerous these people were. Stay close, he warned me. Once this thing blows up, she'll know it was you. I nodded. Let her know. I wanted her to see it coming. The moment she realized. Lily came downstairs late that morning, stretching like she didn't have a care in the world. Morning, babe, she said, heading for the coffee machine. You sleep okay? I took a sip of my own coffee, watching her. She had no idea that, right now, police were raiding her business partner's office. That her bank accounts were being frozen. That her world was collapsing. I nodded. Yeah. Slept great. She gave me that perfect, practiced smile. I was thinking we should take a trip soon. Somewhere warm. I almost laughed. Somewhere warm. She wouldn't need to pack. She was going to prison. Before I could answer, her phone buzzed on the counter. I watched as she picked it up, glanced at the screen, then froze. The color drained from her face. She stepped back, staring at the message. Something was wrong. She swallowed hard, putting the phone down, her fingers trembling. Then, slowly, she turned to me. I met her gaze, calm. Waiting. She knew. She knew. What did you do? She tried to keep her voice steady, but I could hear the cracks. What did you do, James? I set my coffee down. I think you already know. Her breathing was quick, shallow. You don't understand what you've done. I leaned forward. No, Lily. I understand perfectly. Her hands clenched into fists. You had no right. I stood up slowly, taking my time, letting her feel the weight of what was happening. No right? I repeated. You stole women's lives. You sold them like products. You turned innocent people into currency. I took a step closer. You lied to me. You let me believe you were someone good. Someone worth loving. But you were never my wife, Lily. I let the words sink in. You were a predator. The final play. For the first time, Lily looked scared. She wasn't in control anymore. She opened her mouth, maybe to deny it, maybe to beg, but before she could speak, there was a knock at the door. Loud. Sharp. Then another. Then. Lily Carter. Police. Open the door. She flinched. This was real. Her eyes snapped to mine, wild, desperate. James, you don't have to do this. I just smiled. It's already done. The door burst open. Officers flooded in. And as Lily was shoved against the wall, handcuffed, and dragged away screaming, I sat back down, picked up my coffee, and took another sip. Epilogue, free at last. Lily tried to fight the charges. But there was too much evidence. Too many women came forward. She wasn't the only one arrested, her business partners, her clients, the powerful men funding her all fell with her. I was given police protection for a while, just in case anyone wanted revenge. But no one came. Because in the end, they weren't untouchable. They were just cowards with money. And I had burned every single one of them down. Now. I'm free. Free from her. Free from the lie I was living. And for the first time in a long time, I can finally breathe again.